Okay, so last video, this is 11.7. I don't know why I did that. All right, so sorry about that. But wrapping up our summer, at this point we have two formulas, right? We've got the quadratic formula, that basically tells us that x is negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Right? And we have a vertex formula. This is what we just created in this new section. And that basically is my h is negative b over 2a, and my k is f of whatever that h is. All right, so we have two different formulas. And I want to just wrap this up by making sure you're clear that these two formulas are different and they are not equal. You have to pay attention to what question are you answering. And so let's just take a look at a graph, and what we're after here, right? We have a typical parabola. Maybe it's opening downwards like this one, right? And there's basically two things that we're interested in. There's actually several more, but as far as these two formulas are concerned, here's what we're interested in. If I'm looking for x-intercepts where I'm crossing the x-axis, right, that is what this is for, right? Because that's going to solve the equation ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, right? So we're setting our function equal to 0, which means I'm finding x-intercepts. So if my interest is to find the x-intercepts, then I'm going to pull this out of my toolbox, right? Now, if my interest is finding this point here, well, that's what we call the vertex, right? It's not a point crossing the x-axis. It's a high point in this case of my parabola. That's a vertex. And so that's where I'm going to pull that out if I'm being asked to find the vertex or to put something in standard form. Okay, so be careful about what you're being asked. Read it carefully. If somebody's asking you to put something into the standard form or find the vertex, you're using your vertex formula. If someone's asking you to find the x-intercepts, then you're basically using the quadratic formula to help you do that. So be careful. And then just as examples, let's begin by, let's say we're being asked to find the x-intercepts here. All right, and so again, we're going to set f of x equal to 0, which now gives us the equation x squared minus 2x minus 8 equals 0. For those who are pretty adept, we can actually do this by factoring, but let's just go ahead and use our formula. So because I'm finding an x-intercept, because I'm solving an equation, all right, equal to 0, my solutions would be negative 2 plus or minus negative 2 squared minus a 4 times an a times a c all divided by 2 times 1. So if we were asked to find the x-intercept, that's what I would do. And then, of course, now we just clean that up. So we get a 2 plus or minus, that's 4. I believe that's going to be a plus 32 all over 2. 2 plus or minus the square root of 36 over 2. And we get x equals 2 plus or minus 6 over 2. So one of my solutions, 2 plus 6 over 2 is 8. And 2 take away 6 is negative 4 over 2 is negative 2. So there's my two x-intercepts. So what we know then is that this graph is crossing the x-axis. So if I was graphing this, right, this graph, first of all, a is equal to 1, so it's a parabola opening upwards, but it's crossing the x-axis here and here. All right, now if I was asked to find the vertex, that's something different now, right? Because we know this parabola is doing this number. Where is it bottoming out is the question. Now that's the vertex. So to find the vertex, we're basically going to be using this formula now. So to find the vertex, my h is negative b over 2a. So that'd be negative 2 all over 2 times 1. And so in this case, it looks like my h is 2 all over 2. So h is equal to 1. All right, so everybody good there? Oops, you know what? I think I was wrong here. That's a 4. Right, because 2 plus 6 is 8, and if I divide it by 2, I get 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's my x-intercept there. That's, how about I make that an arrow? All right, so I apologize, just caught an error there. Alrighty, so again, be careful what you're being asked for. That tells you which formula you pull out. So my h is 1. How to find my k? Well, I look at f of 1. In this case, we get 1 squared minus 2 times 1 minus 8. So this would be 1 minus 2 minus 8. I think we're going to get a minus 9. So my vertex is at 1, negative 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's the vertex. So now, right, via the quadratic formula and via the vertex formula, I have 3 very good points on my graph, right? And so there would basically be the graph of x squared minus 2x minus 8. I found where it's crossing the x-axis, and I found where it's bottoming out, and I used 2 different formulas to get the job done. So be very aware what you're being asked to do, all right? And so the next one, how about I clean this up? So we have g of x equals 2x squared plus x minus 1. So if I'm asked to find x-intercepts, right, I'm truly solving the equation 2x squared plus x minus 1 equals 0. All right, and so we are now taking out our quadratic equation to do this. Alrighty, and cleaning that up, we get negative 1 plus or minus, I think that's going to be 1 plus 4 over 4. We get negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 5 over 4. Alright, so they're very complicated, but they are real. Right? So one of them is negative 1 plus the square root of 5 over 4, comma 0. And another one is negative 1 minus the square root of 5 over 4, comma 0. So we have 2 x-intercepts. Different idea, right? And I think 5, how about we say is about 2.1. So this is probably, if we take negative 1 and subtract about 2-ish, we get 1. So this is right around 1/4 0. And if that's 2.1, subtract 1, that's about 3-ish. So this is around negative 3/4 0. And these are estimates, right? Truly, truly estimates. I'm just getting a ballpark figure where they're at. So if we were graphing this, right, we have an x-intercept roughly at about, here's 1, at about positive 1/4, and then we have another one at about negative 3/4. All right, so that's, we have that. The 2 tells us that we're opening upwards, so the vertex is somewhere down in here. That's another formula. So to find the vertex, we're going to invoke our vertex formula. So negative b all over 2 times 2. In this case, we get h is equal to 1/4. Alrighty, and so now what I have to do is basically find my k, and that we do by plugging in what I know. And so we get 2 negative 1/4 squared plus a negative 1/4 minus 1. So this is 2 1/16 minus 1/4 minus 1. This becomes 1/8 minus 1/4 minus 1. So putting everything into 8s, 2 over 2 and 8 over 8, you get 1/8 minus 2/8 minus 8 over 8. And I think when I do that, I get negative 9 over 8, right? Yeah. So our vertex is at negative 1/4, negative 9 over 8. So negative 1/4, and this is about 1 1/8, which is pretty small. So about negative 1/4, negative 1/8. So there's where the vertex roughly is at. And so now we can basically sketch the parabola 2x squared plus x minus 1. So again, be very careful. We got 2 very handy dandy formulas, but make sure you use them under the same reasoning. If you're looking for a low point, high point, vertex, whatever the case might be, we're using our vertex formula. If we're trying to find where I'm crossing the x-axis, or if we're solving the equation, you know, my polynomial equals to 0, we're busting out the quadratic formula. All right, and that wraps it up, you guys. Very well done. Let's finish off these quizzes. Let's finish strong, and let's finish our summer. Thank you so much for all your hard work and effort.